This short clip is from my live trading room. You can engage directly with my fabulous team and me at LaDucTrading.com for all our research and trades. Or for just my daily live streams, you can access via YouTube memberships. All links are in the description. This is also a market write-up. Lots of updates here. Beautiful names that have been swing long recommendations on the growth value rotation. In other words, they go from growth into value. And I specifically said large cap value is my preference. And I want to just kind of quickly go over some of these because these are still working. I'm going to put aside the ASML will follow AMT call because it is obviously in semi-land while NVIDIA goes sideways. So that has been working beautifully. The Intel is part of the US government as venture capitalist. That's working beautifully. The industrial metals recommended back in September, early and often, basically Ginza went right from the very bottom and ALB and LIT, lithium, copper, steel, aluminum, they're still in extended uptrends along with XME. So all of that, XME was back in June with another breakout recommendation in gold and silver. And then these really started breaking out in September. But the value plays outside of, let's just say, a semi or commodities, industrial metals, are these kinds of things. Oh my gosh. Dollar Tree, Dollar General recommended since October. Amazingly continue. This is Constellation, alcohol, totally oversold, broke out, boom. URI, mobility trade, construction equipment, PSA, public storage. This is absolutely just starting to work. ODFL, following JB Hunt. Have you looked at the restaurant plays that I recommended last month? Shack, CMG, Kava, the largest or the nicest ones. So I'm very particular. Zim and AMR happen to be value, but they also happen to be very large insider purchases, recommended October and November. Also themes, Zim, Venezuela shipping, AMR, coal, Target, Left 4 Dead, Target, Lulu, and Nike. You know how long it has been since I've said I like Nike? Anyway, I think these have room to go. Anyway, this was late November. We're now mid-January, and they're still working out higher on an entrenched base, and they could take a while, but I still like them a lot. PM finally turned around higher. Just last week, I said CL and PM working of my recommended list back on November 26th. They completely turned around and went boom, up. They look good. Now, don't get too excited about all the value plays because these are still suffering and on the ground for good reason. But Dow, Chemicals, LYB, CL, Colgate, these are just starting to turn higher. Defense plays, large cap value over the hot to trot space plays of ONDS or ASTS. But the point is, they're staying incredibly strong. Boeing, my favorite, obviously for other reasons, but it is still part of that whole space or aerospace, but also value. And Walmart, my fave crazy large cap value retail consumer play. I said, if you don't want to play these oversold Left 4 Dead value bounces, then go with a safety. Walmart. It is absolutely breaking above 105, which was the prior 52-week and all-time high, and now it's pushing 119. And it did a beautiful shallow pullback when it broke out and came back to 110. 110 is higher than 105. And then it just pulled back and went perfectly right back up. So I'm not even talking about China, which is also a value rotation. Don't get mistaken. This is unpopular here in the US because of the Chinese ADR fears of delisting. It's not going to happen because of Trump trade war that is happening, but they're fabulous value, extremely oversold. So anyway, this is not just chases, but I'm trying to show you the oversold stuff is still in play. Intel, I just wrote that up again or reminded again. You can go, by the way, in Slack on that lovely little search bar and type in INTC from Samantha LaDuc, and you will see my write-up that gives it 52, my financial, what do you call it, my fundamental book value. It sat here forever, about 22, but it's got about 52 on the books worth of business. And I absolutely see an overshoot to 57.60, that kind of stuff. So a lot of these are already written up. Intel and AMD were both upgraded to overweight from sector weight at KeyBank in the semi-sector with 60 and 270 respectively. All right, so you've got my 57.60 for Intel. Estee Lauder is definitely strong. That was on my list. Loved Estee Lauder above the 200. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so list value plays are hitting it. EL continues. Boeing is really, really, look at this, such a great fake breakdown. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. We're going to have green closes. 8 weeks. That's gorgeous. And look at that price target perfectly met, 244.45. Boeing is just a gorgeous hit. I don't think it's going to be so easy for it to get right above. More likely it comes back down before moving higher. That would be a natural order of things. 244.45 was my target. It hit. That's gorgeous. And yes, I like Boeing. The thing is, it's, as I just mentioned, wicked. This is where it should digest. Gorgeous. Like, wow. Remember, I was really, really excited as long as it didn't break 215 and then it broke 215. Well, it ended up making a fake breakdown. Like oftentimes they're fake breakouts. Fast failure. This was a fake breakdown. And then it just literally did a 2-bar reversal right here. And it just literally within 60 cents next week, straight up. So yes, I do like it. MMM looks good. That's an exercise in patience. Really, really. But it also, yeah, look at these 400-week inverse head and shoulder. Perfect trend reversal. And then it gets above this kind of 92 area. You can't even see it very well, but it is 92. Just stunning. Takes off in July of 2024. Digestion sideways breakout. Little shake and bake was aggressive, very aggressive in my humble opinion. But look at that trend line. I'm going to change that just to green, just to show you. It can take months, if not years. But 3M, think about all the processing plants that they have. I'm on a monthly, but this is not a company you can replace. Massive, not just supply chains, but just infrastructure, industrial capacity, just you cannot replace in modern day inflation terms. So they're valuable. They're valuable again. 3M is gorgeous. Once above this 127, this can double. 3M looks like a great continuation, trend long, trend reversal long, can double, literally. Just needed to get and stay above that 127 in time, 250. CIB, this should be a green, but you get the idea. Once it breaks above a trend line and gets above the 400, this one did a big shake and bake, but it was a phenomenal Bollinger Band squeeze. And I wrote this up and I posted this for clients, and that was a year ago, January of 2025, 1 whole year ago. Falling dollar and yields, at least you can play a rotation into oversold value, rest of world, FXI, EWZ, EWW, which is Mexico. That's Brazil, right? That's China. And CIB. And it was a very specific one. This was the chart right here. It was a Bollinger Band breakout on a daily, but also on a monthly. It had this trend line that was looking pretty productive, but I said it's only a double once it can clear this prior high. The prior high was from 2024. So once it could get above 37.85 on a monthly, it could double. Once above, it can double. So what does it look like right here? Look at that. On a monthly, beautiful, right? There's your 37.85, big, huge, beautiful monthly candle. It did break out, pull back to support, and then it just continued. Is it extended? Oh yeah. So this $70 area for CIB, Columbia Bank, is a perfect example of this trend line and then a prior high that it takes out becoming an amazing trend long. Constellation, inverse head and shoulder, as long as it got above, and it did, 147.60. It's now 153. Initial price target is 159. Then we see STZ not pausing. Still looks headed to that 159, which is basically the 200-day.
Join Club today to engage with Samantha and her team of 10 experts. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description. Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more live trading room recap videos and other content.